know everybody here. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are my neighbors. Mr. Maurer I've known since he was born. I don't feel I need to recuse myself. I thought you were licensed. And if you don't have a license, you can't sue anybody. Claim is zero.
How again am I in the hole here?
Not only do you lose, you get a counterclaim judgment.
This guy waltzed into court today thinking he'd walk out with a check for $7,000, but it turns out he's on the hook for $5,000. Apparently, you need a license to be a contractor in the state of Michigan. Who knew? If it seems like Judge Middleton knows about 60,000 people in St. Joseph County, like he knows these folks, you're not wrong. Fun fact, there are about 61,000 people in St. Joseph County. Let's roll, nerds.
First of all, I know everybody here, and you know I know everybody here. Mr. and Mrs. Smith are my neighbors. They live around the corner. Mr. Maurer I've known since he was born. I know both of his parents. I know him. He may have even done some work for me at one time. I can't remember. But anyway, I know everybody involved here. And I don't feel I need to recuse myself. That means remove myself. But if either party wants me to be recused and have another judge appointed to hear this, I could ask Judge Pattison to hear it. Mr. Maurer, do you have any objection to me hearing this matter?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
No, Your Honor.
Everybody is under oath. There's no appeal from small claims. Any decision made here is final. Either party is allowed to ask to remove the matter to the general division of the court, where you could have a lawyer, have a formal record, have the right to appeal. But you have to tell me that before we start. Once we begin here, any claim is final and there is no appeal. All right. And the Smiths hired you to do some work to their home on Lane?
Yes, sir.
And according to your claim, you performed work, quite a bit of it, and they didn't pay. What's the story there?
I guess start from the beginning. Back in June.
How much do you believe is actually owed?
$7,201.89.
Did you give them a quote?
Just a verbal quote. We were working with their insurance company at the time. At the time of us originally talking, they through their adjuster, and the insurance company had a quote of $24,660.61.
So you're claiming material total with dump receipts $3,540, labor total $9,660. Down payment on 8/8 of $4,000. Apparently there was a swap of a jet ski for $2,000, leaving $7,200. All right, let me add that up. We've got a State Farm quote, and you're right. Their claim from the adjuster was worth $24,660. All right, you give an invoice in September. Their answer to your complaint states he did not finish the job. He stated we want a counterclaim for $4,915.34. You posted something on Facebook and said you had water damage.
I had water damage and was looking for a contractor.
What was the damage?
The damage was our upstairs bathroom. The toilet leaked. We were at a wrestling event all day. It leaked down into the hallway, into our bedroom, down into the kitchen and into our basement. And so we came home to a nightmare, cleaned as much as we could, then decided that we were going to make an insurance claim and called ServPro.
All right, and then you put it out on the Fisher Lake site or somewhere else?
Local Brothers was booked out, and so I put it on Facebook.
We'll get your side in a minute. We'll still try to get clear on his side. All right, so Mr. Maurer, go ahead.
Well, on August 7th, we started work on the house, completing the rest of the tear out that was left from drywall, rubbing on the metal box. We installed those in all the open boxes in the kitchen.
All right, so you've got your material and labor.
Yes,
You
sir.
got 9,660 in labor. What you're describing me would sustain that. So they paid $4,000 on 8/8.
Yes, sir.
All right, so they claim that the jet ski isn't part of this deal. What's your story regarding that?
When we met originally, I had had interest in Jeff's jet ski for years. I liked that style. I'd already bought one. I had one prior to doing the work. His then needed a lot of work. But I agreed to barter essentially the jet ski for a new front door. And they had mentioned, Jeff had pointed out the state of the soffit and fascia on the house, which there was a bunch missing, some falling out. And I agreed to help them there with the soffit and fascia and the door. And after the blow up on September 17th, I was already in possession of the jet ski. So I put that of pretty decent value of $2,000 towards what they owed.
So you no longer have the jet ski that they've got?
Oh, I still have it.
All right, who has the title?
I do.
All right, talk about the blow up on the 17th.
On the 17th, I was leaving the job site. It was about 7:00 at night, and Gina had showed up. There was appliances coming, and she was asking about the appliances, waiting to have them installed or us installing them. We didn't have the kitchen cabinets up, which had just arrived a few days prior. So I told her that we would hook them up. I mean, it was a dishwasher, oven, fridge, microwave. And I made the comment that we had done other extras beyond the scope of the work that we had agreed upon, and I wasn't worried about it. It wasn't that big of a deal. And I said, as long as I got my $17,000 at the end, which is what we had agreed upon. She said we agreed upon $14,000 and completely lost it and called me everything but a white man, a crook, a liar, a thief, at the top of her lungs in the front yard. And I told her I was leaving. I wasn't going to do this, and I proceeded to leave.
All right, so this is news to me that you were going to do the whole job for $17,000 was the quote.
Yes, and some supplementals, which the insurance company had agreed to pay at the end, which would have amounted to $4,000 to $5,000 at the time.
All right, was that written down anywhere?
That was just my speaking with their claims representative at State Farm for auto owners. I don't even remember.
You've been in business long enough. I can't even believe you would do this. So you did an amount of work, and then after the blow up, you said you couldn't go back. So they're in the middle of this job, and you left the job undone.
Yes,
How
sir.
much was left to do?
The kitchen cabinets needed installed, the flooring was there, needed installed, and the bathroom needed finished, and then trim miscellaneous paint.
All right. Did you ever get any check from the insurance company?
Myself, no.
Yes.
Everything went to Gina and Jeff.
So he did an amount of work, claims he didn't get paid. Apparently he didn't get paid other than $4,000. You got a different perspective in that you're claiming he left you high and dry in the middle of the project. What's your take?
The blow up in September was coming to a head the entire time. I asked over, and I have it, and I printed off all the texts individually, where I asked about 16 different times in different ways for something in writing, whether it be an invoice, a contract, an estimate that he can provide that we can show our mortgage company and our insurance company, so we know what we're paying, and so what we know what we're paying him and what his fees are. He never gave that to us.
Now, this thing, it's dated 9/29. invoice. So was that the first document you got of what it was he claimed was owed?
Yes. The first document we got was Your Honor, was the $4,000 down payment, which I was unhappy with because it said the rest of the fees will be agreed upon, da, 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 da. So, and before that, I'd already asked him several times for a contract or an invoice of what I would be paying him.
All right, what did you think the job cost was? He said 17,000. He says you said 14,000.
He made a comment saying, as long as I got about 14 grand for the job, when it's all said and done, we should be good to go. We never agreed on any number. And I have that, where I've asked him down to the last day in September, where I said, I need something in writing to provide for my mortgage company. I also have a letter from Scott with JD Construction saying everything he did needed to be redone because it wasn't done properly.
Well, I'll just read it. We had to install a header between the dining room and the living room because the drywall was even and could not be married for the tub shower was wrong and the tub was set. The plumbing in the basement had to be taken apart and cleaned and re-glued because it was leaking. Signed, Scott Erdman, JD Construction. Mr. Mauer, what's the name of your business?
Scott Mauer Construction.
Does it have a license?
I just have a DBA. And can I respond to the sump pump issue there in the picture, number one?
Let me stop you. I thought you were licensed. Under the law, you have to have a license to sue somebody. I should have done this first. I saved a lot of time. You're a residential builder, a residential maintenance and alteration contractor. You are running naked. You don't have a license. And if you don't have a license, you can't sue anybody. So you don't have the right to sue them unless you're a licensed residential building and alteration contractor. I thought you were. You get zero. You're running naked. Every time you do a job and if you sue somebody for money, you don't have the right to sue somebody unless you have a license. You need a license to do all of these jobs. In fact, it's a misdemeanor to operate as a residential builder or residential maintenance and alteration contractor. You need to be licensed by the state of Michigan. We get lots of these, and you've been doing this for so long, I just assumed you had a license.
Since 2020.
Well, a DBA is not a license.
No.
From the state of Michigan. So you don't have the lawful right to sue them. I should have done that first.
Yeah.
Claim is zero.
All right.
I could have saved us about the last 45 minutes. For this comes up periodically. It's not just this, but a number of things. You need a residential maintenance alteration contractor license to do things like swimming pools and patios and driveways, some roofing, siding. Then you need a residential builder license to do things like you're doing plumbing, you're doing electrical, you're not a licensed plumber, you're not a licensed electrician, and you're not a licensed residential maintenance and alteration contractor. So you don't have the right to sue. So I don't have to decide who was right or wrong or who owes anybody how much money. Kim, would you prepare a clean one of these for me? I find for the defendant, dismiss the case.
Your Honor, what about the counterclaim?
Oh, good point. You don't have a right to defend the counterclaim. You're really running naked. Not only do you lose, you get a counterclaim judgment against you in the amount of I thought you were licensed. in the amount of $4,915.34.
When this, and how again, am I in the hole here after I'm already in the hole 7,200?
Yes, you are. That's what you get for doing this without a license. Not only do you not get paid because you don't have standing to sue them, you don't have standing to defend the counterclaim. So you need a license to do this. You can't even file a lawsuit, and they sued you, and you don't have the right to defend it. So I don't even have to think about this. Yeah, this is seems unfair, but you're doing this without a license, which is a crime.
Nothing we did required a building permit or anything of the such. It was essentially handyman work.
Yes, it did. At least, if not a full-blown building permit, a residential alteration and maintenance contractor license. Did you get permits for any of this?
The insurance company took care of all that.
And JD Construction, when they took over, they took care of everything. And Your Honor, he did take some of our siding off and some of our soffit off and left it like that. And it's been like that throughout the winter. So you made the comment that it seems unfair, but he did damage to our home. And then we had to redo.
Well, it seems unfair to him.
Yeah.
But I guess that's in the eye of the beholder.
Mhm.
You need a license to do this. Your opinion that you don't is, I disagree with it. In fact, you need a license to do everything you're doing at Scott Mauer Construction. A DBA is not a license from the state of Michigan to perform this type of work. So my regret, you owe them $4,915.34, and you get zero on your claim. And that's just how it went. All right. I'll have her prepare a judgment. This happens periodically, and it was on me. I should have asked that question right from the start. I'll make a copy of this letter, or is this my copy?
You can have it as your copy.
All right, we will be in recess. I'll stop the live.